Hey y'all, welcome to our podcast. It's not just black and white. This is Rain.
And I'm your girl Whitley. How y'all doing?
And we're coming to you to talk to you about different worldviews, different topics, conversations that a lot of people don't feel comfortable having. But we just want to open up the conversation and the discussion for y'all to comment and interject with any opinions. If you do like this topic today, please comment your opinions or ideas down below in the comment section. Please like and subscribe this YouTube channel and share with your friends to get the conversations out there. Just moving right along into the first conversation, we're going to be talking about spankings versus no spankings for your kids. So, Whitley, first question. Were you spanked as a child, and how did it impact you with raising your kids in discipline?
Oh my gosh, what a great question. Was I spanked as a child? Absolutely, yes. My mom did not play that. I definitely got many spankings as a child, but and so much to where you'll say they'll say, "Oh, you crying, you gonna call the police, they can take you, they can take you." And then they want to come to you and be like, "Oh, you want to go to the store?" After they whoop your butt, be like, "Oh, you want to go get something?" And you like, "I know she ain't said, she just spanked my butt." But yes, I definitely got spankings as a child. But looking back on it, and I always tell my mom, like, even as I got older, um, like, uh, like out of high school, or probably like 18, 19, whatever, I actually thanked my mom for spanking me. Just because I seen like friends when I was growing up and stuff, I would see friends disrespect their parents, like call them out their name, like have no self-control over their children, and so I was like, thank you, mama, for spanking my butt, because I could have been just like that child, if you didn't keep me in line and keep me straight. um so yeah, I definitely got spankings, but I feel like it definitely groomed and shaped me for the person that I am today.
So I just want to tell a funny story because um, when I was growing up, my parents, so I'm the oldest of 9 kids, my parents spanked our tushies, especially the older kids. So
Mhm.
we call it the first 6 of us. And we were like the kids that were like super duper disciplined. And, when parents, the older they get, the more relaxed they get. So the younger ones kind of got away with a lot. Um, but if we went into the store, I come from a military family. My dad was in the military for 26 years, and he would line us up outside the bathroom door. And then we would have to sit there, wait for the trial and the verdict outside that bathroom door. And each kid would line up one. We would do, talk about what we did wrong, say our sorries, basically pleading for mercy. And I remember some of the siblings would have like Uno cards. We would play it right outside the bathroom door, like we're in jail waiting for freedom. And we had some comedic siblings, so we would send the comedic ones first. Like my sister Ember, she always goes first because we're like, if she can talk down Dad, maybe she can talk us all out of it.
Right.
And I remember it was so funny. And he walked by the bathroom door, like watching us play cards. We would tuck them away under our legs real quick. But oh my gosh, spankings were like
Uh-uh.
the real deal growing up.
Oh wow.
Okay, so second question I have is, how do you feel when you see a parent in public spanking their kids?
um how I feel when I see somebody spanking their kid in public. I mean, if they're correcting their behavior, like if the child's doing something wrong or whatever, I have no issue, like a parent like getting them in check, and like, hey, you don't need to be doing that, or snatching them up or whatever they have to do. I have no issue with that, because they're one, they're teaching them, but two, you can't just allow. I've seen kids throw tantrums in the store or throw a fit, and the parent that they don't know what to do. They're like, and and everybody's looking. I've seen that. So I don't have a problem with somebody disciplining their child in public. I mean, you embarrass me in public, so you go get your butt whooped in public.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this is kind of something I was thinking about. I saw this show on Hulu. It's called The Parent Test.
Mm-hmm.
And if y'all haven't seen it, just look it up and watch it. It's so interesting. But basically, one of the tasks for them to do is that they were supposed to talk about discipline, and they showed the different ways the parents go about discipline, and then spanking versus no spanking, and they have all these different things. Anyways, watch it. Regardless, there was one parent that said, I was abused growing up, so I felt really uncomfortable with spanking my child because I see that as abuse. And because I was beat so hard, I can't, spank my child because it just gives me PTSD, gives me flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to the parent that does struggle with that? Like, what would the advice be? I don't have kids, so I can't speak on it, but you do.
Yeah, so the whole concept, like, so I did what was taught to me. Like my mom spanked me, so when I had Jordan very young, and so I knew like, and my mom was also a single parent, so I grew up spanking, so I knew that was like, when I was so young. I would give Jordan spankings because that's all I knew, like to get order and make sure he's listening to me, honor your mother and father, so I started out spanking him, like, and then, but I'm gonna tell you something now. um I just find myself like in a crossroads and trying to, rather than having to spank my children or have that conversation, like sit down and have a conversation with them and like trying to see what the problem is and like and setting those boundaries and those expectations, because you know it does go back. I do think about sometimes it does go back into the slavery where black people did, in other races they did get spanked, like that was a form, of beating, whoopings and stuff like that. And I looking at it now, and I was like, I do want to do different methods because I don't want my children to feel one scared, like scared or fear me or feel like they can't have a voice or be hurt, be happy, be upset, be sad. I want them to be able to feel different emotions and see conflict, and how do we have a conversation and get past it and set boundaries, so I wouldn't say, and I know they have a form now like gentle parenting. I wouldn't say that there's some things that I've looked up with gentle parenting, and there's the things that I do agree with. Now, do I hit them every time? No, because sometimes in that moment, I do go back to, now you shouldn't be doing that with my kids, or something like that. But I do want to get into a place of understanding my child and where they're coming from. Why are they upset? Why do they feel like they have to
Mm-hmm.
maybe tell a lie? Or why do they feel like they have to do that? When it can be an open, honest conversation of, why did you do that? Well, mom, I should have did my homework. Say if it was homework, I should have did my homework and I was just being lazy. Or I was, you know what I'm saying? Or I was distracted by A, B, C, and D. And let's set up a plan and a
Yeah.
goal to move forward with that. Does that make sense? Because I don't want to have to whoop my kids, just to, keep them in line. I want to have a conversation in that relationship with them.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good stuff.
Hmm.
I love.
Did you get, oh, you said you got spankings. So how did that
Mm-hmm.
make you feel, like after getting spankings? How did that make you feel as a child? Like, did you understand your parents,
Um,
where they were coming from with it?
I didn't know where they were coming from. So I come from a Christian household as well. And so my parents' method was to take us individually into the bathroom. I guess that was the sacred area.
Mm.
And they would talk to us about what we did wrong. And they would ask us, what do you think you could have done better? And how would you have gone about it differently?
Mm-hmm.
And then they would pray with us. And, we would ask God for forgiveness. And then we had the spanking, and it wasn't just any spanking. I mean, it was skin to skin.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. My mama said, take all your
And
clothes off.
we tried patting our pants, but they were like, pull them pants down.
Exactly. I want to see some skin. Yes. So do you feel like, looking back on it, do you feel like, you see where your parents were coming from? They weren't coming from a place of wanting to, beat you, but a place of love, like, I'm trying to teach you something.
No, the Bible talks about spare the rod, spoil the child, and I'm 100% with that. Yeah, I feel like I'm very thankful now that they spanked me, and I'm going into the future, and I want to do the same with my child. I don't want it to be abuse. I don't want it to be like, I get so angry and I'm frustrated with them because they're just being a kid, and my go-to is just spanking them.
Right.
I don't think that's healthy. I think as a parent, then you need to get yourself in check.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Great question.
So viewers, please just comment down below what you think about this topic. I know it's a very sensitive topic. And there's a lot of different parenting styles, and we're open to hearing all of it. So I am interested in what everyone says.
Good, good, good. All right. So following to our next topic, we have dating in interracial relationships. So Ray, my question for you is, do you think that it is imperative for when you are dating somebody that's not your race, do you think it's imperative for you to educate yourself on their culture, on their background, on the history, and kind of dive into that, like, who is this person and where they come from? Do you think it's important for that?
So for me personally, if y'all didn't watch the last podcast, I kind of gave a little snippet that I am dating a black man. His parents are actually from Nigeria. He was raised here in the States, though, never actually lived in Nigeria. He was raised here in the United States. But I think dating a black man, one, it's so important to know about their culture, and I've kind of learned that it's even important to know how they take care of themselves, because it's very different than what I do. Like, even down to our hair, it's different. Like, it takes him 10 times longer to manage his hair than it would mine. And I think it's important to know, just for an example, like, it's going to cost more in terms of finances to manage his hair than it would be to mine. And I think it's important to know, getting into a relationship like that, if y'all end up getting married, you got to know that we're going to have to put some money away for him, in that sense. So yeah, I do think it's important to know someone's culture and about them. I also think for those people, sometimes, you're raised here in the United States. So like, you could be Hispanic, Asian, and, their culture is not a huge thing to them because they grew up like, American Asian, American Hispanic, African American. So it's not like their culture is super ingrained in them. And they've kind of just started their own traditions here. I think it really depends on if it's important to that person. And if you're going to be dating someone, the biggest thing is whether they're black, white, Asian, Hispanic. I think it's important to know, like, what is important to them? What is valuable to them? And kind of meet them on that level. And I'm someone who I love to understand other people and understand their background, understand what's important to them, and kind of meet them where they're at. I'm just someone in general who's extremely curious about different cultures. So whether you care about it or not, if you are an African American and, your background, your nationality is not important to you, I'm still curious about it. Like, you should know your culture. Right. To me, because like, you came from somewhere. You didn't just get here. Like, I want to know my culture. For Christmas, I gave my mom a 23andMe because I was curious about, what is she? Like, where did she come from? What makes me who I am?
Right.
So, in that regard, yeah, I'm
Good.
curious.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think everyone should,
Hmm.
like, whether, it could be whether you have a spouse or, your companion. It could be your friends too. Like your friends, not just your partner who you're dating, but your friends. You should know, like, if I have a friend that is Hispanic, I want to know the Hispanic culture, what you guys like to do, what struggles, what things you've gone
Hmm.
through, because your struggles are my struggles. If you're my friend, if you're my family or somebody I loved, and just in general, like, God made us each individualized, and it's like, so you're my friend. I want to learn what you guys do. You're of a Hispanic culture. You're of an Asian culture. I want to know what you guys do because I want to respect everybody's culture, and know that everybody brings something to the table. It may not be what you have and what you do, but everybody brings something to the table. So I think it's important that, no matter who you're around, you should educate yourself on other ethnicities. So that's good.
Hmm.
So with that being said, since you are in an interracial relationship, you got to tell us, like, have you ever gotten any looks, any stares? Have people, have friends, family, anybody, strangers, had anything to say about you having, an interracial relationship, and how did that make you feel?
I think on my half, my family is not like my mom grew up in California, my dad grew up in New York. They grew up with a lot of diversity and different cultures. So I think me being raised, it's never been about the color of your skin or your nationality. It's always been about what's in your heart. What do you value? And are you going to take care of my daughter? That's like my parents' perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I've had coworkers or friends say things that honestly have been extremely insulting. Like I had a coworker that doesn't believe in interracial relationships, and it was very close-minded to me, and it was very insulting because I'm like, it's people, like, why does it matter if you're in an interracial relationship? And she was raised that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Grew up in the South, and I just think it could be so close-minded. And I'm like, that's, and her whole thing is, well, I have a lesbian black friend. I'm like, I
Oh
don't care
gosh, I've
about your
heard that
white friend.
before.
Like, how are you treating people? How are you viewing people? Like, I don't care if you're gonna love on them regardless. Like, that doesn't make sense to me because I'm like, what if your kids grew up and they wanted to be with a different culture? They're gonna feel like that's not okay because you view it like it's some type of wrongdoing. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think in that way, there has been looks and certain comments made, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do, what I feel like is right, and I don't care what anyone else says.
Good. That's good. And I think now, like, in this generation too that we live in, like, that is something that I'm so excited because that is something that we're moving towards. Like, I was never raised,
Mhm.
one, my family is very multicultural, everything. So I was raised, literally in a melting pot. Dallas, Texas is a melting pot. And I was raised with different ethnicity groups. Everybody's just blended in. And so I never, like, really paid attention to it until as I got older and I was like, wow, this is a real thing. Like, this is a thing. Because my mom always taught us, it doesn't matter, like, white, black, and different. If this is your person, this is somebody you love, whether it be friend, whether it be a companion, a relationship, that's who you like that person for who they are. And that's exactly what I teach my boys. It doesn't matter what color you are, as long as that's a good person, God fearing person, that, you know what I'm saying? All of those great qualities, they're focused, all of those great qualities, then that is what I want my kids to know. It doesn't matter who they date, what, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's awesome, because like you said, there's so many people that are so closed-minded and don't feel like, uh, people should interrace. And I just feel
Mhm.
like that is so, like, you know what I'm saying? It's so way back when, and that shouldn't even be the mindset. If we're
Like,
all God's
like we're
children, if we're all God's children, what that song, red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in his sight.
oh
Jesus loves everybody.
yeah.
So you can be with an Asian, you can be with a black woman, you can be with a whoever, because God loves all of
Mhm.
us, and that's how it should be. So,
Amen. Preach it.
girl, don't get me on the roll now.
Well, I think that concludes today's conversation. So please let us know what you think. And again, like
Yes,
and subscribe to the podcast. We are so excited to have these conversations and just open up the floor.
yes.
So until next podcast, we'll see ya.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching.